one here. Shanae Gumake, you were in the building, so you saw early on Houston trying to make a statement.
This was the play that got everyone out of their seats. I was like, okay, this is going to be the time where the Rockets have arrived. But then things turned, but we have to appreciate the big dunk.
Big time throwdown there for baby Jokic, Alperen Şengün. Second quarter, though, Jimmy Butler hits the floater here. Needed that because Steph Curry started out 0 for 3 in this game.
And Jimmy said he don't like settling for threes, got to his spots, and that's what you bought Jimmy for. When Steph is struggling, he takes over and carries the load.
He struggled for about 5 seconds, Mark Spears, because he gets a handoff, hits the 3 here. He had 16 first half points. It's the 50th career first half for him in the postseason with 15 or more.
We don't get tired of seeing that. You've been watching that since
I think that some Houston fans
Houston fans have been tormented by this for years. This is a new flavor, though, with Jimmy Butler in the mix here, Shanae.
His ability to hyper-focus, and I remember he turned and was like, hey, you like that one? You like that one? I heard him say that. I was right behind there.
A minute later here with the clock winding down, this is when the great Kevin Harlan said geometrically, this doesn't even make sense.
Listen, I was right there, and I was like, there's no chance, and then it was, oh my goodness.
See who's loving it? Warriors Governor Joe Lacob saying, How did I get so lucky to have this man in the Golden State Warriors uniform for so long? Going ahead to the fourth quarter here, this is more Curry magic, Perk.
On a hell of a defender, by the way. And look, he's hitting threes whether he's chewing on that damn mouthpiece or not.
But Houston would hang around after trailing by double digits.
That was a big bucket.
Bully their way back into this one.
They did. They tried, but free throws, this shots, layups, those are just gifts to Steph Curry.
Couldn't get over the hump.
Curry finished with 31 in this one, and then Butler here sizing up Şengün, who did have a heck of a game, and then hits the step back here. And then 30 seconds later here, Butler
dagger
steal leaks out for the jam. He finished with 25 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and 5 steals in the win. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. He's loving his Batman.
Like I always say, Batman comes out of nowhere. You never see him coming, then he just falls from the sky, from a building, behind the door, and does some incredible things, man. He's going to be the reason that we do win it all. We all know that, but we got to protect him at all costs.
He has a knack for big moments, even if it's not him, finishing the play. He hit a big shot at the elbow, but just a guy that is composed with the ball, his poise out there, his presence.
The Butler dined out in Game 1, becoming the first player with at least 25 points and 5 steals in a playoff debut for a franchise since steals became official here. Perk, it is the Golden State Warriors who take Game 1 here, but for the Houston Rockets, what's going to be the biggest area of improvement to focus on for Game 2?
It's obvious. They're going to have to knock down shots. They were one of the worst shooting teams in the league this season from the three-point line. In the postseason, you have to make shots. They were 6 for 29 last night from the 3. Also, make the simple play. Like in these moments of going against an experienced team, that home run pass is not there. They got something that's called the hockey assist that actually leads to the pass. So when you're playing a veteran group, don't try to, knock it out the park on one play. Just keep it simple.
Perk, you know what we say down south?
What's
don't
that?
Be cute. Don't be cute. That's what the Rockets are doing, right, Mark?
Yeah, I've been watching Jalen Green for a long time.
Yeah.
High school, prolific prep, your Oakland Soldiers.
Yeah.
G League Ignite, superstar scorer, iconic scorer, potentially Anthony Edwards type of scorer. That's why they drafted him number 2. But he was 14 points below his scoring average. He has to be a special scorer in order for the Rockets to have any kind of challenge in this series. But the Warriors have been excellent against him.
Absolutely.
He's only averaged 8 points in his 4 games against them. So he's told me he wants to be a superstar in this league. Jay, you in the playoffs. This is your shine. This is the spotlight. You have to be a star in this series for the Rockets.
Houston starting backcourt, 7 of 34.
Don't do that to me. Look, I still have PTSD from what I witnessed yesterday, especially Steph Curry's shots. And shout out to the Rockets who take great care of me anytime I go to a game. My girl Gretchen out there. But you know what's crazy? She told me, we have the pyrotechnics back. We have the fire back. It's the playoffs. And then Steph Curry quickly extinguished those flames with those shots. But still, it's Game 1. This is a young squad. But one thing that I think a lot of people see when it comes to 3-point shots and Steph and Jimmy Butler Butler late. It's the offense. Cool. It was actually the defense that won them the game. You mentioned 7 for 34, the Rockets starting backcourt. That's what they were held to. Look at this defensive possession here. Alpi, everyone's hawking the ball. Steph, this is a mismatch. What's the height? 6'2" versus 6'11". What does Steph do? Hey, a lot of people have criticized the last few years. Is he going to be able to really dig down and defend? He did exactly that on that possession. Another possession here. Look at them running a 1-3-1. They run zone, the Warriors, because they know the Houston Rockets cannot shoot from three. Unfortunately, they have to have a zone buster, which typically is Fred VanVleet. You double team the ball, which is great, but then you lose sight of the shooter, and still there's two players able to contest. Whether it was double teams, mismatches, zones, it does not matter. But more importantly, Jimmy Butler, ever since he arrived, the Golden State Warriors have the #1 defensive efficiency and lead the NBA in deflections. That side cannot be ignored.
Yeah, and when you look at the Houston Rockets, maybe they go a little bit more double big because you see someone like Steven Adams had a beast of a game in this one, Perk. But do you have more faith in the Golden State Warriors after seeing this game one that this could be a deep playoff run for them?
Hell yeah, I'm a believer. I believe.
Wait.
No. I believe.
So not we believe, I believe.
No, I believe in the Golden State Warriors. I picked them to win this series in 7 games. I mean, I apologize to them. I know you've been, doing your thing.
I saw your tweet, and I thought you said.
Hold on. I know you've been doing your thing, okay, on women's basketball. But about a month ago, I apologized to the Golden State Warriors and said I was wrong about them, right? This is the second best team in the Western Conference. This really is, right? They have a legit shot at going to the finals. I still have OKC, but Jimmy Butler, what he brings to the table, Swiss Army knife, will cut you everywhere but loose.
Speaking of OKC, they say that lightning, it never strikes twice, but thunder is unrelenting here. We got a quick turnaround here for Ja Morant and the Grizzlies. 48 hours after advancing out of the play-in, taking on the league best Thunder in this one. Shanae, I know that Sinners was the #1 movie this weekend, a different kind of horror story here for the Grizzlies.
It was. This was all about sinners, nightmares, and defense, depth, dominance. That's what the Oklahoma City Thunder bring. Once you miss, that's the best thing for them. They have these electric plays that get everyone off the bench.
What an elevation here by Kaysen Wallace for the poster. And then a couple minutes later, OKC up 22. Who would have thought Aaron Wiggins was going to be the leading scorer for OKC?
Me? Because they're that deep. I mean, seriously, he's had 40 this season off the bench, by the way.
21 points for him in this one. And then OKC now up, what's that?
Oh, J-Dub.
You'd said Jalen Williams could be the most important player in this postseason here for OKC on a night when SGA struggled a little bit, his lowest scoring output. Is impressed here. And then SGA finding his groove a little bit.
Yeah, right before the break, that's how you steal the momentum back. And their ability to play two bigs. We talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers, how that's their superpower. Well, you got to introduce them into the conversation as well.
The Thunder absolutely rolled in this one. 51-point win. That is the 5th largest margin of victory in postseason history, the largest in a decade. This was also the largest playoff win in franchise history for OKC. After the game, here's Ja Morant on the Grizzlies' performance.
Joe, what are you telling your guys after a game like this?
We'll never, play that bad again. If we win Tuesday, the series 1-1. And this game won't matter.
Well, number one, y'all not going to win Tuesday. But number two, I believe Ja Morant, but I don't believe Jaren Jackson Jr. Let's have an uncomfortable conversation real quick.
Oh, goodness.
He is the most overhyped player in this league. He's not even a top 10 big in my eyes. And here's why I'm going at him. Forget the fact that you fired your coach 5 games, 8 games left in the season and you need him to step up. Forget the fact that Ja Morant probably shouldn't be playing because he's taking shots every damn day to stay on the floor because we know how severe that ankle sprain is. Forget the fact that he is a former defensive player of the year. Forget the fact that he made an all-star team this year. Matter of fact, forget the fact that he had 4 and 3. Do you realize 43 was my jersey number in Boston? Do you realize 4 and 3 is what I average? You're an all-star, bro. They need you to step up at the biggest times. I don't care. It's a make-or-miss league. You're going to miss shots. But there's no way in hell that Jaren Jackson Jr. should ever leave a game without having double-figure rebounds and being impactful on the defensive side of things. So when I look at the Memphis Grizzlies and I look at this matchup against Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren, You got to impose your will. You can't have them switching Alex Caruso on you and you're settling for threes and you can't get 2 feet in the paint and punish them on these mismatches. When I think about him, yes, it is 10 bigs that I would take over him right now. He was an all-star, yeah. Yes.
As much as the Grizzlies, it just was not their afternoon. By the way, an incredibly painful turnaround for them. Early game after barely making it out of the play-in tournament.
They shouldn't have been in the play-in tournament.
But I think we can both agree, right, Perk? This is much more about what the Thunder did than what the Grizzlies didn't do. So what kind of a statement did the Thunder make in this one, Mark?
As cold as Jaren was, you know what was hot? The torture chamber. The torture chamber was really sauna-like. And Ja Morant, you didn't speak on Ja Morant. Lou Dort held him to 1 of 6 shooting. Lou Dort had 3 steals. Caruso had 3 steals as well. The Thunder also had 3 guys with 2 blocks. Defensively, they're incredible. But they call Lou Dort DPOY. They believe he should be the defensive player of the year.
I voted for him.
He wasn't even a finalist, so you know he's a little upset. He's a little mad. He's not even made All-NBA first or second team defense. I think that changes. But they heated up the torture chamber, and it's going to be a problem for Morant and everybody else going forward.
But that's why I love series. It allows players the opportunity to respond. Perk, what you trying to, you know?
No, I was just
you know I'm coming back at you with Jaren Jackson Jr. He still had a decent year. 22 points per game. Now, I think
rebounds.
in one game, mind you, losing in a play-in, then winning a play-in, then going up against Oklahoma City Thunder, which I say is running into a defensive buzzsaw, is difficult. I think he'd be the first to admit that was an unacceptable performance from him. But yeah, you were pretty strong on that.
And I stand on that. Look, Austin Reeves averaged 5 rebounds.
I think
for
he
the
can,
season.
Yes, yeah. But before, ironically, talking about Lou Dort and the torture chamber and how he should get more consideration for Defensive Player of the Year, prior to his injury, weren't we saying that Jaren Jackson Jr. could have made that opportunity too? So,
we can talk about Jaren Jackson Jr. and the Memphis Grizzlies all day long. I am walking away from that game saying, oh, crap. Anything that we have thought, the Thunder a regular season team, are they too young for this? It is all about
I will say this. I was listening to you yesterday, and you're absolutely correct. The rest of the NBA has seen the statement that the Thunder have made. 51-point victory. This regular season, 13 points per game is their average margin of victory. And all other teams in NBA history around 11 or 12, they've won titles when you beat teams by that much.
Absolutely.
And they're on trend.
We can't say it enough. This was game.
Todd, for you, how would you summarize your playoff debut?
Solid.
Is that first time in the playoffs? Damn sure it looked like it.
Solid, yeah.
Solid.
Yeah, solid game 1. Yeah. We can really reevaluate after the series.
Donovan, would you like to?
Solid.
It's the humility for me. Jerome's 28 points are the 3rd most in a player's playoff debut in Cavaliers history, behind only the 32 points LeBron scored in 2006 and Kyrie Irving's 30 in 2015. By the way, we'll find out who wins 6th Man of the Year tonight. Onward to the 4-seed Pacers hosting the 5-seed Milwaukee Bucks on Saturday. Damian Lillard did not play in this game, but he has been upgraded to questionable for Game 2 here.
Love to hear it, but Giannis Antetokounmpo was trying to hold things down. He had 36 points, and they realized this was a pick-your-poison matchup. Let's let Giannis score and stop everybody else.
Yeah, that was their plan. We're going to head to the second here. 9:50 to go. He doesn't like spicy food, but he likes spicy jumping.
He does. He's a monster in the mid-range. The Pacers, it feels like March, April. That's when they thrive.
Going ahead to the 4th quarter here, Shanae. Tyrese Halliburton drives inside, fouled by Antetokounmpo here. They exchange words, but the Pacers go on to win and take a 1-0 lead in this series. And it's now time for our chill performance, brought to you by Coors Light and also by Derek White. The reigning champs, they opened up against Orlando. Derek White led the way, 30 points, shooting 7 for 12 from 3. It was the 3rd time he's dropped 30 in a playoff game. Boston is now 14-1 in the playoffs when White hits at least 4 threes. The Celtics get the win in this one, 103-86. Now, Mark Spears, you were in the building for this game, and the biggest concern coming out of this one was Jason Tatum, right? We saw him messing with his wrist on the bench after the game. He went and got X-rays. We saw him in the hallway headed back to the X-ray room. What more can you tell us about what the results of that were and his status for Game 2?
Well, they were clean.
Okay.
He's a gamer. There's 3 days between games. He's fine. He'll be tough. I was worried about his mama more, man. You see that beautiful Birkin bag she had, the big yellow bag? And she said, do I need to go to the Magic locker room? I said, I'm glad. He said, Mama, we don't need that. We don't need another Jackie Christie
Don't mess
moment.
with Miss Brandy.
I am more worried about Jalen.
Okay.
You know, he had a cortisone shot in his knee. He didn't want to talk about it before the series. Keep an eye on that. They've got a long way to go, and that's a tough injury to have.
Yeah, he said he's been playing through that knee bruise, and he kept deflecting and saying he's fine. He knows this is the postseason, but we will certainly keep an eye on that. All right, let's go to the other side of this. The Celtics, they have 18 titles. They haven't repeated since 1969. Before we move on to the Magic, you spoke to Tatum about that this weekend. What did you learn?
He thought that doing something that Bird hasn't done, doing something that Paul Pierce hasn't done, but doing something that Bill Russell did would be special and magnificent. But Joe Mazzulla has done a really good job of having them focus on today. Jaylen Brown said we're not worried about 6 weeks from now, 6 months from now, 10 years from now. We're worried about the Magic. So Joe is doing a fantastic job keeping them focused on what's at hand, beating the Magic, and worrying about history later.
Yeah, and then on the Magic side of things, it feels like they just need a little bit more offense. They need to find something outside of Franz Wagner, and Paolo Banchero will certainly be. So three-point shooting would help, but they've struggled with that throughout the regular season. All right, coming up here on NBA Today, the Lakers, they took a tough loss in Game 1, but find out why. Perk, you think there might be in danger of a sweep here? All right, we got to stick around to hear what he's thinking about that. And the Mavericks general manager, Nico Harrison, faced some tough questions today from reporters and exit interviews. Hear from him before Bobby Marks lays out Dallas's offseason decisions. Plus,
watching NBA Today, presented by American Express.
Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves, they put the Lakers in a blender on Saturday night. Let's go to Crypto.com arena here. Luka Doncic loves a first quarter here, Chene, and this was no different. Spins, drives, hits the mid-range jumper. 16 points in the first.
Yeah, we got playoff Luka, but sometimes that bodes trouble because other players have to get going too, and it got out of hand pretty quickly.
How can you not see this, though, in here? Blocked by James!
Blocked by James! Like, you love to see it.
Still doing it at 40 years old.
Pogo 6.
But this is going to be a big 3 nominee. We're going to see more of this highlight later in the show. But Rudy Gobert, the Timberwolves, they really took advantage of their double big, and the Lakers struggled against their size. And there's a reason why half of Minnesota has a Nasri tattoo.
This is true. You know what? The Timberwolves, they made it look like the Lakers were stuck in mud with how electric and fast and quick they're playing. But I love that ISO.
Making eye contact. He knows exactly where the camera is to end the first half here.
You gotta guard him. That was the story of the night. Open threes.
He's improved his three-point shooting, leads the league in him. Luka Doncic, though, he said, all right, I see you, Dante DiVincenzo. I can do it, too. Trying to give the Lakers some momentum. They were sputtering in the middle of this game.
They absolutely were, but once again, once you give Anthony Edwards signs of life, he will take that and rip yours from you. Again, we're getting iconic moments. Kevin Durant, Nikola Jokic, and now Luka Doncic.
Ice cold photo. Later in the fourth here, the unsung hero of the Timberwolves, Jaden McDaniels with the Euro, floats it in. McDaniels had a team-high 25 points in this one, and the Timberwolves still Game 1. After the game, JJ Redick shared his thoughts.
I'm not sure physically we were ready, if that makes sense. And really, when they started playing with a lot of thrust and physicality, like we just didn't respond immediately to that.
You know, when you play in a Minnesota team, they're gonna be physical. That's what they bring to the table. So, you know, maybe it took us one playoff game to now get a feel for it and know what the type of intensity, the type of physicality that's gonna be brought to the game. But that's just the way they play. So we should be more than prepared for that on Tuesday night.
So among the Lakers' issues in Game 1, they allowed 21 three-pointers. That's a franchise record for Minnesota. 17 of them, they came as open looks. And then on the offensive end, they dished just 15 assists. That's the team's fewest in the last 2 seasons. So it sounds like they need to stand on something.
This my camera.
That's going to be your camera.
Standing on business. You better stand on business. Stand on business. Hell yeah, we standing on business today. Standing on business. What up? Hey, look, today is one of those days. And look, This is not a pick-on segment. This is just bringing it to the front street, to the front. Luka, a lot of people may whisper behind your back, but damn it, I'm going to say it to your face. It's time for you to stand on business. I understand you had 37 points. I don't even care about that. What did you do to help your team win with other things that didn't show up in the stat sheet? Let's pull up the film. Here you go right here. It's no film. Because you don't do it, right? You don't do the little things. Hey, Luka, when was the last time you actually hit the floor for a loose ball? When was the last time you actually dove in the stands to help save a loose ball? You don't do this, bro. And so when you look across the league at other young stars, Donovan Mitchell, he did it last night. The guy that you played against in Anthony Edwards, he had his team. They brought a level of physicality that showed up, that did all the little things to help win a playoff game. You have Big Rudy right here anchoring the defense, accepting the challenge against LeBron James. Jay McDaniels hitting the offensive glass, being physical in the inside. Look right here again. Julius Randle being the man in the middle. Look at him yelling and screaming. When you're trying to take the next leap, it's not about you dribbling the oxygen out of the damn basketball. It's not about you finishing the game with 37 points and 1 assist. The little things is what win you championships. I played with 14 Hall of Famers, and all of them done it. It's time for you to step up to the plate, young man.
Perk, you think that this is a must-win here for the Lakers in Game 2?
I'm going to tell you this, Malika. I'm going to tell you this. It is a must-win. It is a must-win.
Well, and he recorded his 5th straight playoff game with at least 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists in Game 1, breaking a tie for the longest streak in Timberwolves history. It's also the longest active streak league-wide. I do think Luka's 1 assist is a little bit misleading because the Lakers did shoot 1 of 8 off of his passes, so he was moving the ball. The Lakers just weren't making those shots, as we say hello to our front office insider, Bobby Marks. If Perk's calling this a must-win for the Los Angeles Lakers here, Bobby, what is the one thing the Lakers need to key in on?
I think it's Anthony Edwards. I think you've got to make him into a jump shooter. I know we showed the highlights and he drained 3 threes in a row here. I look at him as the facilitator. They're 6-0 when he has 8 assists or more. He had 9 in this game. It's basically kind of pick your poison as far as how you want to defend him. And I look at this Minnesota team. Yes, they made the trade with Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. They are battle-tested as a team. The Lakers are battle-tested as individuals. We know Luka and LeBron have been in big games, but as a team standpoint, they haven't been in that big moment here. This is a new team that has been put together here.
Yeah, that is true, especially when you have these trades. Typically, it's hard for them to gel and win when it matters most, especially when it happens right around February, March. But, you know, when I was thinking about this game, I was like, the Lakers, they really think that they're in an automatic. But really, it's a stick shift. Like, you got to switch gears.
I struggle in a stick shift.
Yeah, I still don't know how to drive.
That's how I learned how to drive.
Like, that's what they need to drive. They need to take it to another gear. They just did not win the point of attack battle. And when you're doing that against the Minnesota Timberwolves, a team that literally thrives when you're passive, that's going to bode trouble. I also think schematically, throughout the regular season, what we saw the last 2 months, JJ Redick's game plan of, I'm going to force your worst shooter to shoot most of the shots. Well, in the playoffs, they know that's coming. Hearing Anthony Edwards say, hey, Jaden was ready because he knew those shots were going to be there. I'm going to be confident. And what did that amount in? A record number of threes for them in the playoffs. The Minnesota Timberwolves have been intentional about how they've tried to build.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards, you mentioned it, leads the NBA made threes. They're built to take down opponents like this, especially when you are handing them threes. And I think that's where the biggest adjustment in Game 2 is going to come from JJ Redick. What else do you have up your sleeve to really, slow down the perimeter shooting?
And I agree with you, Bobby and Malika, 1,000%. And I'm going to say this again. The Lakers got to win. They're in a must-win situation, Game 2. Otherwise, they're going to get swept. And I wouldn't say that with that much confidence if Anthony Edwards wasn't on the other side. He's going to make you feel pain any chance he get. You better win Game 2. And you talk about J.J. Redick adjustments. The one thing that we praised him about was the adjustments he made in the regular season. But was it a rookie mistake? Right? Most playoff coaches, a lot of coaches don't like to show their playoff hand. Remember when we was talking about the Knicks and the Pistons towards the last part of the season? We was wondering why Tibbs didn't play OG Anunoby.
And you think that was like a card he was holding up his sleeve?
Yeah, then all of a sudden OG Anunoby, he's guarding Cade Cunningham.
Right.
In Game 1. Real talk.
But the difference with the Lakers is this has been their strategy all year. Essentially, they said, okay, we're going to let you shoot threes. And against this Timberwolves team, when you're making a franchise record in Game 1, maybe that's going going to need to be something that's adjusted, particularly when you lose a game that Luka Doncic scored 31 points in. His former team, though, is at home after failing to make it out of the play-in tournament. The Mavericks are holding exit interviews today. So now joining NBA Today, Tim McMahon. Tim, before we get to you, let's just listen together to Mavericks general manager Nico Harrison on miscalculating the fans' response to the Luka trade. This is from earlier today.
I did know that Luka was important to the fan base. I didn't quite know it to what level, but really the way we looked at it is, you know, if you're putting a team on the floor that's Kyrie, Clay, PJ, Anthony Davis, and Lively, we feel that's a championship caliber team, and we would have been winning at a high level, and that would have quieted some of the outrage.
Okay, so he's saying that he thinks that maybe he miscalculated a little bit the fan level of outrage here. But you wrote an article that released this morning that gave even more context into the Mavericks, maybe disconnect with fans and the franchise. What did you take away from this latest installment of Nico Harrison speaking to reporters?
Yeah, I don't understand how you can underestimate the popularity of a player who is fresh off leading your franchise to the finals, who's a 5-time first-team All-NBA selection, who is yet to hit his prime, and who took the torch from Dirk Nowitzki, the guy who set a record, literally a record for loyalty to a franchise, 21 years in one uniform. Loyalty never fades away, says the statue outside of the arena, and Dirk handed the torch to Luka, stamped Luka. And by the way, Dirk is one of those fans who has been alienated by the Mavericks franchise. To be clear, I've not spoken to Dirk, but I have spoken to a lot of people close to Dirk. This goes back to August 2023, the firing of Casey Smith, longtime athletic trainer, became the executive overseeing the health and performance group. That led to Dirk's disengagement from the franchise, friction with Luka Doncic's camp, and these injuries that Nico Harrison keeps referring to is the reason you can't judge a trade yet. There were a lot of issues within that health and performance group. They're all Nico Harrison's handpicked hires. Frankly, this whole season has been a massive mess and miscalculation for the Dallas Mavericks. But Nico Harrison has convinced Patrick Dumont, hey, you can't judge this until we have a fully healthy roster. We'll see if that happens next season. It certainly didn't happen this year. Fascinating new details about the inner workings of the Dallas Mavericks right now up on ESPN.com. Tim McMahon, thank you very much. Now the Mavericks turn the page to the offseason. So, Bobby Marks, what can Dallas do with this offseason to bolster their roster?
Yeah, Malika, this is Bobby's to-do list, I guess, right? And it's going to start with the Kyrie Irving contract. In that press conference, Nico Harrison said Kyrie Irving is going to be back one way or another. He's either going to be opting into his contract or with a new contract. So it's the Irving contract. They've got 3 tradable firsts. They've got a lottery pick. It's either going to be the 11th or 12th pick. They also have 2 picks that they can move in the future. And then I call it the sweet spot contracts. Nico Harrison has made 16 trades as general managers. There's only 2 players left from that 2022 Western Conference final team, Spencer Dinwiddie and Dwight Powell. So what you see the roster end with, I don't think we're going to see I think we'll see a different roster. So look for those type players, Klay Thompson, Najee Marshall, PJ Washington, those type players. And then certainly, how do you extend this timeline to compete for a championship? Right now, there's a 3-year window, and that's basically what's left on Anthony Davis's contract here. How can you extend that here? But there's a lot to do this summer. Certainly the Kyrie Irving contract is going to be the first thing to figure out here.
It's that championship window that Nico Harrison having the same game for the 17th time in the playoffs. That ties Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen for most by a duo in NBA postseason history. The Nuggets are 12-5 in those games. Jokic led or co-led his team in points, rebounds, assists for the 21st time in his playoff career, tying Larry Bird, Tim Duncan for the 3rd most such postseason games in NBA history. He trails only a pair of current Lakers, LeBron and Luka. There's no one who is better at breaking down tape than Shanae.
Roll the tape. Oh, snap. This is my sister squad. I have something up my sleeve. Big Cali energy here at the Intuit Dome. We have a big cheat sheet on the Jumbotron. The biggest cheat sheet ever. Look at that finish. Turnaround 360. She has been balling. They ain't settling. Texas stays winning. You know what it is. Immovable object, Nikola Jokic versus unstoppable force. That's the Clippers stars. If you're a basketball purist, you're going to enjoy this matchup because it's the best of the best at the highest level. The Nuggets-Clippers series is for you. Game 1 delivered, overtime, instant classic. And Denver won because they have the ultimate cheat code, Nikola Jokic, who makes the game so simple for his teammates. It comes down to 2 actions. 1, isolation. He demands double, triple teams. You come off of a shooter, guess what? He will make you pay. He has tremendous vision. Aaron Gordon shooting 43% from 3 because he's getting wide open looks. So 1 is isolation, but also in clutch time, they go to 2-man action between Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. All right, got you on the pump fake. 2 people running at you. Normally, this is a very difficult type of passer situation. Instead, he finds the Brody Russell Westbrook, who had 10 points between the 4th quarter and overtime. Here is the Nikola Jokic effect per the numbers. The Nuggets averaged 125 points per 100 possessions with him on the floor during the regular season. That would be the best offense in the NBA. But with him off, they averaged 21 points less, which put them in the worst category. So Nikola Jokic is clearly the ultimate offensive difference maker, and we saw this down the stretch. Game 1. To the, what is it, immovable object?
Yeah. It feels like the Nuggets here with that immovable object, they snatched victory from the jaws of defeat here, or whatever that saying goes. I always get confused and inverted, but we're going to move on. He's so dominant, Nikola Jokic is, but it still feels like the Clippers, they should be kicking themselves for losing this one. They had it on the road in Game 1, so you're Ty Lue here, Bobby. What do you adjust for Game 2?
Protect the ball. 20 points, plus 20, Denver was off points off turnovers. Kawhi Leonard had 7 O's. Really, it's like little things. It's like winning plays at the end of the game. Don't let Russell Westbrook get on the offensive boards. Loose ball, second chance points. If they can eliminate some of those things, they're going to win Game 2, and they're going to go back to L.A. for a tied 1-1 here.
And you're right, Bobby. And this is a team full of vets that know better, right? They know the value of actually valuing the basketball. But I got to put a little blame on my boy Ty Lue. I thought in the 4th quarter, I thought those Norman Powell, Chris Dunn minutes should have went to Nicholas Batum. Because we was watching the game in the studio, and how many times we like, oh, damn, Nicholas Batum with the big shot. You know what I mean? And he's 6'9", versatile, could hit the glass. I thought when you go to the point about Russell Westbrook and offensive rebounding, they needed that to secure some of those possessions.
Well, here's the interesting thing we saw in Game 1. David Alderman, their interim coach, did not play Michael Porter Jr. He stuck with Russell Westbrook. So are you going to stick with your best 5 at that point, or the 5 that you're most comfortable with?
And are you going to double team Nikola Jokic a little bit more? That's what and will that help? That's always the question.
They were literally running off of Russ, but good job, Russ. He made him pay.
Yeah, he certainly did. It's the Russell Westbrook roller coaster, and it paid off. Let's take a look at today's electric moment, brought to you by Hyundai. Chinea, avert your eyes. We're going back to Houston and Golden State because business is booming for the Butler and the Chef here. Game 1 versus the Rockets. Curry, a little step back 3. The shot clock winding down here. Bobby, this is just what he does.
Well, it felt like every time he made a 3, it was worth like 6 points.
Golden State extending their lead here, and then it was Jimmy's turn. Butler
just walking you down, like, not fair. You know what's coming.
Step back over Alperen Şengün late in the shot clock. 30 seconds left here. Butler with the steal.
This is when everyone started heading, for the exit.
Did you leave at this point?
I did not. I stayed.
There you go. Curry had 31. Butler finished with 25. The Warriors, they take Game 1. Young Masuka is covering this series for us. Jimmy Butler made his Warriors debut, and it wasn't just about the box score here. What are people saying around the team about the feeling that he brings to this group?
Well, Malika, the box score is pretty darn impressive.
Yeah.